Let's talk home inspections. What goes into them and defining some of those things. Well, welcome to my podcast, Seeking Wisdom Through Real Estate, where we dig deeper into truly understanding and gaining knowledge from experienced and educated people. I am your host, Leah Massey, a real estate agent who is trying to educate myself more and take you along for the ride. Every week, we will be bringing you information to help you unlock the understanding in real estate. Join me today with my guest, Maria Stinger.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Leah, for taking the time to talk about home inspections because most times people do not. And it is awesome that you are taking the time as well to
Mhm.
learn more about this part of the transaction because there's so many moving pieces.
Yes, there
And
is.
certainly your clients benefit from that experience and knowledge that you're gaining. So,
Yes, thank you, Maria. And so, Maria, I'm going to tell the audience a little bit about you. You're the owner of Keystone Building Inspections since 2005.
yes. Mhm.
They provide home inspections, pest inspections, radon testing. Inspections are ACI certified by the American Society of Home Inspections, ASHA, and the PA Department of Environmental Protection Agency to perform radon tests and same day delivery of all reports. So, Maria, who is Maria Stinger?
Well, I have a varied career in mortgage and real estate,
Mhm,
starting out underwriting mortgages and writing loans for
mhm,
people, selling mortgage insurance, sales management, and working for the Federal Home Loan Bank of Pittsburgh in a very large territory. And then I ended up with the home inspection business, and I run day-to-day operations,
mhm.
scheduling and talking to realtors, doing the marketing, talking to buyers, helping to put them at ease that we're going to take good care of them during the entire home inspection process.
And it's a family owned business, right?
It is a family-owned business. My nephew, Dan Kelly, is our certified home inspector, and his experience is mechanical, GM. He was a GM certified mechanic, then worked for many years at the Allegheny County Housing Authority.
Mhm,
So he's got great experience working and learning from experts in the field, plumbers and carpenters and HVAC people and roofers, you name it, he did it. And so one day, he and my husband devised this plan that we were going to start a home inspection company, and that was 25 years ago. And I'm still running the day-to-day operations, dropping off radon tests, scheduling, all of it.
mhm. Well, let's get into it then. So, what exactly is a home inspection?
So a home inspection is a complete analysis of what's going on in the house you're about to purchase and live in, of what's going on in the house. We start outside, we look at landscaping and driveways and sidewalks and decks and roofs and gutters and downspouts, and then we go into the house. So we're looking at foundations, hot water tank, furnace, electrical panel, are there bowing walls? Is there water in the basement? What
Mhm,
might be causing that? Then we head upstairs. And in the meantime, we're checking outlets, we're checking faucets. So plumbing is included,
mhm,
electrical panel. Then we go upstairs. We're going to look at permanently affixed appliances in your
mhm,
kitchen and do a basic test on those. We're going to check windows. We're going to check bathrooms. We're going to look for, is there a leak? We're going to look at what's going on in your ceiling. You know, sometimes we don't always look at our ceilings when
yeah.
we walk in our house, and
Mhm,
we're not kicking the tires, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to kick the tires and we're going to get into the attic and we're going to look and see what's going on in your attic.
mhm,
Is there mold? Is there a vent up there? Is there evidence of a leak? Is the foundation of the roof, is it wet?
mhm,
You know, so we're just going to do a complete, it's like a physical that you go get once a year with your doctor. It's a physical for your house.
yeah.
So we're going to find major defects and we're going to find little defects.
Mhm,
Uh, Hopefully, between Leah and the report and what she reads after the inspection, you're going to go over that and you're going to say, Leah, I can fix these honey-do list
Mhm.
items. There needs a little bit of scraping and painting. Maybe one of the faucets leaks, and you just need a new faucet. Um, but you're going to look at that. So honey-do, and then you're going to look at major items. Is there a carbon monoxide leak? Is the hot water tank leaking? Is there a bowing wall? Are there cracks in the foundation?
Mhm.
Do the windows not work? Is an old, outdated electrical panel? We see a lot of those.
Mhm.
So there's all different, millions of different little systems in your house. Maybe that's an
Yeah,
exaggeration, maybe not millions, but hundreds.
yeah, yeah.
And so we're going to provide you that picture.
Mhm.
We always tell people too, when you're living in a house, you got to kick the tires
Mhm.
just like you do on your car. You take it in once a year for an inspection. You get your oil changed. You got to look around your house. As I said, look up above. And that's good for a seller too,
Yeah.
even before you list the house.
Mhm.
Let's take a look and see at what's going on here. Little things like you got water in the
Yeah.
basement, so we're going to use a moisture meter. We're going to look and see if there's moisture. We're going to look and see, well, maybe there's a little bit of mold
Mm.
or what we suspect as being mold.
Yeah.
um, and we'll talk about mold
Mhm.
a little bit further in the conversation, but Dan's going to point all of that out to you, and our report's going to back that up.
Mhm.
So those are things that you would take and work with your buyer to say, here's what we're probably going to ask the seller to take care of and fix.
Mhm.
Um, People don't understand that getting back to foundation, because that's a big issue. Over time, dirt moves towards your house.
Mhm.
Well, you don't want that. You want the dirt moving back.
Yeah.
You want it to go like this,
Mhm.
slope away from your foundation. That when it's close up there, water can get in there. Cleaning out your gutters every fall
Mhm.
after the leaves all fall, very easy. That brings moisture into your basement.
Mhm.
Mold, bowing walls, and we see it a lot. It's Western Pennsylvania, the type of soil that we have. We see a lot of that.
Yeah.
So, but it's nothing to be afraid of.
And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted today to kind of dig deeper into an inspection because
Hmm.
um, with, real estate agents and brokerages do highly recommend that you do get an inspection, home
Absolutely.
inspection. You can have them waived, but we don't recommend that.
No.
And then also, too, I think um, understanding that you will learn more about the home you're about to purchase. And these are things that you may have to spend some money on in the future. So that's
Hmm.
what we're going to dig deeper in. So I think more people will get the inspection and also attend the inspection and kind
Absolutely.
of know more about what they're purchasing and what goes into a home. So you do have some of your things here.
Hmm.
So I know when you go into the home, you're looking at the exterior as well as the interior.
Hmm.
So let's talk about some of the things that may come up. Okay, for instance, we have you mentioned mold.
Hmm.
Um, so let's talk about that.
Well, mold can be very scary to a
Hmm.
lot of people.
Hmm.
And you don't know what kind of mold it is until you have it tested. So, you gotta have someone come in, take samples, send it away, and then you determine what kind of mold it is. Then you plan your plan of attack, so to speak. First things first, get rid of the water. So you got to figure out where's that water, how is it getting into the basement, and get rid of the water. Then you can attack the mold. So mold is a plant. It has spores. It loves to eat on wood, and it loves to grow on insulation in your attic. We've seen where the roof leak was so bad in the middle of winter. Um, there's ice on the inside. Well, when it gets warm up there in the summer, guess what ice is going to turn into? Mold. We see bathroom vents in the attic all the time. Mold is growing on all the wood and all the insulation in the attic. Mold's growing on walls. So you got to get rid of the water, first things first. So you need a contractor to do that.
Hmm.
And then you have to have a treatment. If you don't get rid of the water source, the mold's going to keep coming back. It is a plant. It's dormant. And there's thousands of different types of mold. If you are compromised, you elderly people, babies,
Mhm.
people with asthma, allergies, those types of things, it's really going to affect you. If you're relatively healthy, it does not. But you want to take care of it the proper way. There's a very, and I brought my last copy of it, the EPA. You can go to HUD.gov and you can search for booklets, and they're free and they're PDF. And I think Leah's going to put
Mhm. Yes, I'll
uh,
put a link in
a
the
link in there,
description.
and so you can read all about mold and how to get rid of it and how to keep it from coming back.
Now,
So
even though they'll have access to that link, can you tell me a little bit what to look out for? So, how would people kind of know um, what mold looks like? Like, you know, what I mean, how do they detect it? Or if they're hearing something, like, okay, like you said, the roof leaked or
right.
something, what's some cues that there may be mold and what does that look like? Yeah.
Yeah, mold comes in all different kind of colors.
Hmm.
Some are very beautiful, pinks and greens and purples and yellows and black. Everybody's the
Hmm.
Stradibacus, the black mold, but you could have black mold, and it may not be Stradibacus. It could be Penicillium, it could be Aspergillus, which are just very common mold that is everywhere. It's in the room you're in right now. It's just floating around. It's outside. It's inside. So you look for water staining. A lot of times it happens in corners in your basement,
Hmm.
and you look for it looks moldy and mildewy. A lot of times, if we see it in a house, we're going to have a picture of it,
Hmm.
so you can see that. But it's always good when you're living in a house to look around. It just look around and say, "Oh boy, that looks very suspicious to me. I better do something about this. Where's that mold coming from?" So I like to say it's all one color, but it's not.
Hmm.
It's the rainbow, and there's thousands of different types of mold. Um, it's easy to get it tested. The results come back pretty fast. They're not same day. They've got to send it off to a lab and have it grow. And how mold testers test today, they usually have what's called an aero sample. They take one in the basement usually, and then one outside. If you have mold in your attic, so for instance,
Hmm.
as I said, the fan from your bathroom, easy fix. You take that vent and you vent it as it should have been all along, up through the attic. And then you may need some cleanup up there,
Hmm.
but it's once you eliminate the moisture coming from the bathroom vent, it'll probably stay dormant. The mold will stay dormant because it doesn't have it's a plant and it needs moisture to grow.
Hmm.
So, not anything to be overly afraid about, but it is everywhere. So,
That's what I was gonna ask, like, say when the, potential home buyer, when they like, "Oh my goodness, it has mold." When should you be more alarmed when there's mold? Like, what kind of mold or what how much of it or
well, exactly. So, if it's in one little corner, there's probably a pretty good chance that it's coming because your gutters are clogged
Mhm,
or your downspout is not correctly installed. The landscaping, as I said, the soil has to go away from the house versus towards it. So you need a contractor to do a little
mhm,
bit of investigation. Okay, where is this coming from? We have been in houses that entire basements are full of black mold.
mm.
Entire basements. Had it tested, it was not Stradibacus. So it wasn't like the most dangerous type of mold that could really affect you.
Mm.
But as I said, if you're immunocompromised, if you have babies, elderly people, you really want to be cautious about the mold. You got to get rid of the water in order to get rid of the mold. So there are companies that'll come in and do the cleanup once you have the issue with the water coming
And
in
how's
the
that
house.
expense?
Well, it could be very expensive, depending on how much mold and depending on who you use and what kind of treatment you want. So there are companies that will come in and provide those services for you, and a good contractor should be able to fix the problem.
Mm.
Um, I know my neighbor had to have a contractor come in. They dug all around the front of their house, removed the landscaping, uh, treated the wall, fixed the landscaping and the soil so and they have no problems. And, you can paint with dry lock and they have other kind of materials they can use to get rid of it. So you can get rid of it. It's not like it'll be there forever.
Okay,
It's fixable.
fixable. Well, speaking of that, how about the lead?
So we
Mm-hmm.
get calls for lead.
Mm-hmm.
So lead mostly comes from paint in older homes
Mm-hmm.
where they used to use lead in paint. So the problem with the paint is eventually, if you don't maintain your home, it's going to chip and it's going to peel. And then for some reason, people eat it. They eat the paint chips, don't eat the paint.
Yeah.
So you could have it tested.
Mm-hmm.
It's super expensive. Um, the easiest remedy is you could hire somebody,
Mm-hmm.
or you could do it with the proper mask and gear. Scrape it, make sure the rest of it is good, and paint right over it. You concealed that.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's eating that. They're not going to chip it off your
Right.
walls. Um, there's very good companies here in Pittsburgh that will come out and they are certified EPA lead removal companies,
Mm-hmm.
and they can get rid of the lead based paint. And it really is, I believe, my opinion is, it's very easy to take care of because you can paint over it and then it's encapsulated. Nobody's bothering it, and it's not going to seep through there and get into your body.
Right.
Um, so it's pretty easy. The other thing is lead in our water pipes.
Yes.
Usually the water pipe coming into the house.
Mm-hmm.
So I know water authorities throughout Allegheny County at least have been replacing lead pipe.
Yes.
So that's where you're going to get the majority of it. You can buy filters. You can call some of the water authorities will provide those filters, but you may end up with just a very short piece of pipe, of lead pipe coming into your house. So you want to ask the seller,
Mm-hmm.
do you have lead pipes? Do you know? Does the water authority know? And have you replaced them? But the idea now is they're minimizing what's coming in from the public pipes that are under our roads. I'm sure everybody has seen
Mm-hmm.
where they're doing
Yeah.
the new construction, replacing the pipes and to get rid of the lead pipe. But definitely, when it's lead-based paint, you should, and realtors provide a disclosure, and sellers
Right.
provide a disclosure saying what they know about lead-based paint in the house. And usually before, is it
1978. Yeah.
78?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 78. Usually before there's probably lead-based paint in your house, but don't eat it, don't chip it, get rid of it.
I guess the concern is more like if you have children, small children. If you,
That's
yeah.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
The small children, they see it and they eat it. And, and I think that all started right here in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
There was a woman that, um, she brought it to everybody's attention. So
Mm-hmm.
many years ago,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
but it's a good thing. And, just encapsulate it. You shouldn't have a problem.
And it is a costly expense. Yes.
Oh, to
Yeah.
get it removed, like if you came into this building and took all the paint all the way down,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I mean, it would be super expensive.
Yeah.
But I know that fixing the chips and painting over it, that will that will eliminate it.
Okay. How about asbestos?
So asbestos was used many years
Mm-hmm.
ago, basically in homes in about three places.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, asbestos tiles in basements.
Mm-hmm.
They're a certain size, and we're trained in to know, okay, this looks like
Yeah.
asbestos.
Yeah.
So first thing first about asbestos tile, don't chip it. Don't do anything to
Mm-hmm.
it, because what happens is when you break the towels, the fibers get into the air and it goes into our lungs. And you see the commercials for people that have, I guess, lung cancer, mesothelioma from asbestos fibers. So a lot of times what people do is you cover over it, leave it alone, and you cover over it. You put new towel over it, because then, again, it's encapsulated, right? So can't get to it. It can't break, it can't fray. Your problem is solved there. Um, they used to use asbestos tape on pipes. We have an older home
Mm.
housing stock in a lot of areas. So again, it's encapsulating it. Don't cut it, don't tear it, don't rip it. You could cover it over with new tape. You could hire a company to remove that. We inspected a house in the South Hills a couple of years ago. What they did was they built around all the piping that had asbestos on it, um, wood, to encapsulate it. So we see it there in older furnaces.
Can you explain what it is? If- Asbestos? Yeah.
It's some sort of a
Okay.
fiber they used. It's very durable, and they used it everywhere in schools and buildings, homes, all different types of
Mm.
products and materials where they used it. I'm not sure of the exact composition of it,
Yeah.
but they found, of course, years later that it's bad for you. It's very bad for you. In the 70s, some of you that may be watching this will remember the
Mm-hmm.
oil embargo.
Mm-hmm.
And Allegheny County, I know at least Allegheny County did it. They would provide uh, senior citizens and different types of people with blown in asbestos, vermiculite, there's all different names for it, into attics.
Mm-hmm.
It's loose. Now, I think that's where, if I was buying a house and it had it, I would want that removed,
Mm-hmm.
because what happens is it gets into your air ducts and then it blows out of your you know grates coming at you. I I guess you could encapsulate that. I do know that it's extremely expensive. Anytime you try to remove asbestos, I mean, they're coming in with the hazmat suits.
Okay.
So it's a dangerous material. The best thing for you to do is don't touch it, no matter where it is. The floor, tiles, the loose, and the tape. Don't touch it. You got to call an expert in to get that removed and taken care of, or encapsulated somehow, some way, where it's not fraying.
Mm-hmm.
And it frays over time. You have it in a 100-year-old house.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's time for that to go. Just like knob and tube wiring,
Mm-hmm.
it's time for that to go too.
Right.
It's 100 years old or 80 years old. You got to get new wiring,
Yeah.
you know. But I don't want
And
to digress
asbestos,
too
is
much.
it mostly in odor? Have you seen it in what kind of, where have you seen it
I
mostly?
think going back into the maybe 50s and 60s and older, but I don't know that they really were using it in the 70s and 80s and 90s. I know they don't use it anymore, but
Right. Okay.
so usually if Dan sees the vermiculite in the attic, he'll say, you need to get a test. You need to hire someone that is certified. I would always make sure that any contractor you're using is certified to remove these types of materials, the lead-based paint and the asbestos, um, and mold testers too that have certification. None of it is inexpensive
Right.
because it's an environmental hazard. Not only do you have the work and it's labor intensive, but you've got to pay for disposal to
Mm.
get rid of it
Okay. That's
safely
where a lot of
so
stuff
it
is.
doesn't get back into the environment.
Okay. And you mentioned knob and tube.
Oh,
So
yeah.
can you explain? Can you say what that is?
Well, it was a very good
Yeah.
form of electrical wiring.
Mm-hmm.
And it is unsafe today because we live much differently than our grandparents
Mm-hmm.
did. Well, they didn't have computers and 5 TVs in the house and hair dryers and curling irons. That's near and dear to me. That's what I that's what I want. But you're pulling on it. You've got electric stoves and electric ovens, and you've got microwaves, and you've got 2 or 3 kids running around the house,
Mhm.
and you're on plugging stuff in, and your significant other is and your kids are, and you keep drawing and drawing and drawing. And knob and tube is not designed to carry that load.
Mhm.
So if you live in an older home and you have not replaced your wiring, you got to get it done. I know a lot of insurance companies will not insure homes today with knob and tube. It's got to be replaced. And once that becomes an issue, then you've got the mortgage lender that comes in and says, you've got to have that replaced within so many days of closing, or you're not going to have homeowners insurance because it is a fire hazard. And you can go to the National Fire Protection Agency and read about knob and tube
Mhm.
and outdated electrical boxes.
Mhm.
So there are electrical boxes in your house, maybe, that they don't even make parts for them anymore.
Mhm.
You've got to get that stuff replaced.
Yeah.
It's a tough issue in a real estate transaction
Mhm.
because those are not cheap items.
Right.
Rewiring a house, not inexpensive,
Mhm.
but you need to get done with it.
Right.
But I'll give you a tip from a fireman. I was at a seminar with a fireman, and he says, get rid of the candles, get rid of those candles. They cause a lot of fires, and the knob and
Yeah.
tube. And he said, "Oh, Maria, when you talked about knob and tube," he said, "I wanted to chime in because people don't understand your house. That wiring's old. Get rid of it."
Mhm.
But he said most fires start in the kitchen.
Mhm.
So he said, if you're cooking and you're like I do,
Yeah.
I'm cooking and then I'm sending out home inspection reports and calculating radon tests. He said, take a spatula with you.
Mhm.
And then you'll say, what do I have? Why do I have this? I have a pot on the stove.
Mhm.
He said, most of them start in the kitchen.
In the kitchen.
So just that's a tip.
Yeah.
That's a free tip of the
Yeah.
day.
Free tip.
So,
Okay.
yeah, that was a good one though.
Thank you for
I
that.
like that.
And so now that we have also too, I wanted to talk about when they see cracking, like in the walls and stuff like that.
Yep.
So can you talk a little bit about that? 'Cause some
Yeah.
people get alarmed by that.
People get alarmed by that. Some of it is just regular, okay, the house is going to settle and it's
Mhm.
going to settle over time. And we don't know what's moving
Right.
underneath us. There could be pockets, and we'll talk about pockets of
Mhm.
air when we talk about radon
Yeah.
here. So your house is going to shift a little bit. So, common cracks,
Mhm.
not a problem. Every house gets them. It doesn't stop because everything moves around. But if we see cracks coming down your basement wall that are straight down,
Mhm.
there's probably some reason why that is. So it could be that, again, that dirt on the outside, there's water getting in there and it's pushing and pushing and pushing against your house. You may need wall anchors. Um, again, you need to hire a contractor to come in. There's very good companies here locally that will come into your home and they can fix it.
Mhm.
And a lot of them have lifetime guarantees and they will do the waterproofing in addition, but they'll also fix the outside.
Mhm.
So you may have seen in houses, there's sometimes they're diamond shaped, sometimes they're square, and they give you a tool that if you need to, you can adjust that. So you keep pulling the wall back.
Mhm.
The cracks and then the bowing.
The bone. Yeah.
That's another thing. That's a sure sign that something's going on outside the house with around the foundation. So you've got to get that contractor in there to pull that dirt back. I think there are times when it'll just naturally go back. There are other times where you need the wall anchor system or straps. That's the newest. Um, Type of product they use is they use straps to hold the walls into place. Very effective.
Mhm.
And it might be, I don't know if it's a little cheaper or not, a little less expensive to um, to have the straps put in, but that's a big issue that we see. Sometimes it's the brick on the
Mhm.
house, the concrete, the mortar is coming loose,
Mhm.
and water can get behind there, especially in fireplaces.
Mhm.
So water can get behind there. You'll see bricks falling, and you'll see the cracking outside. It's like, okay, something's going on here.
Right.
A lot of times it'll rust out our lentils on top of our window ledges
Mhm.
because water's getting back there somehow, some way. Maintenance in the house. You got to get it fixed. Is it inexpensive? No.
Right.
It's welcome to home ownership, right? And it's craftsmen. I mean,
Yeah.
we need more craftsmen that
Mhm.
know how to fix these
Yes.
items
Yeah.
properly
Mhm.
in our houses, you know.
Well, what can people look out for around the foundation of the home to see if it's going to be a problem or the soils coming into the
Well, you can visibly see that.
yeah.
You really can. If you
Mhm.
take a good look around, you can see that. Dan sees it, and in the report he'll
Mhm.
have landscaping needs, attention, pull it away from the
Mhm.
house. A lot of times too, you'll see some of that in like a pest report
Mhm.
because you've got that soil going up and moisture,
Mhm.
and guess who's marching in? Those little termites
Yeah.
and them carpenter ants and stuff like that. They're marching in because there's like, I know there's wood in here. I know there. I'm hungry. I know there's wood there.
That's true.
They get in there. So, you know, um,
And we're going to talk
it-
about them too.
yeah, we're going to talk about those little buggers.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, so, I mean, it could be a big thing, could be a couple $1,000s to get that fixed,
Yeah.
the
Or
bowing, but that's definitely we're gonna look for those cracks and the bowing in
now if it's a
walls.
foundational issue, that's a whole nother thing. Like it can be
Well, yeah, you're mostly gonna see that in the foundation,
yeah.
you know? Upstairs, mostly, you're going to see the normal settling
Mhm.
cracks. You fill it in with putty, but you're never gonna stop it. You're
Yeah.
gonna you're gonna see them, and Dan really tries to keep people calm about that stuff. Now we've seen in basements where he's like, I could see outside from that crack in that hole in that
Mhm.
wall. That's not good.
Yeah.
That is not good. You need to get that fixed.
Right.
And then actually at hardware stores, you can buy a meter
Mhm.
and you put a date on it, and they're inexpensive to see if a crack is moving.
Mm.
So you put it over, you put it under it and you measure it,
Mhm.
and then you can tell if it's moving or not. Then oh boy, we got to get something done about this. There's
Yeah.
some reason why it's moving.
But sometimes the flooring too can kind of be like
Oh, in certain types of construction, I think balloon, you'll see crowns,
yeah.
in the flooring. That's just the weight of the house and, come up. And older houses, I had built a house in 94, I think it was, I don't know, eh, way back when. And I could see the crown coming
Yeah.
in my house. So I had new flooring put down, and what they did was they, um, you know, flattened that out,
Yeah.
that main beam, and put the new flooring over it.
Yeah. And sometimes you
So,
see it where it's like a tilt. A couple homes I
yes,
went to tours, like almost feels like you're going down or
yep.
you're going up. Yeah.
In older
And that, yeah,
homes,
and that's
people bring balls
yeah.
to inspection to see, where's this
Yes.
thing, but there's not much you can do about it. Now, if there are not good posts in the
Mhm.
basement,
Mhm.
um, you gotta put a post in to keep that house standing up. But I, at one time, owned a house it's over 100 years old,
Yes.
and the posts are tree trunks.
Mhm.
They're still there. They're still there, and that they were built when that house was built. They were put in correctly, but the house still,
Yeah.
it's old. It's a little bit tired, but
Well, say if they see with all the cracking and all the, the soil kind of the water seeping in, so they see water in the basement.
mm,
And I know there's certain ways you can get a sump pump and all that kind of stuff. So
right.
what's some of the things that can be corrected with that?
Well, if you're getting a lot of
Mhm.
water in the basement, and if you remember a few years ago here in Pittsburgh, we had those huge storms, and a
Mhm.
lot of it was concentrated in the South Hills. People that never had water in their basement now got water in their basement because the earth just cannot absorb it all. So you get a sump pump,
Mhm.
and the sump pump, is going to divert that water away. So they come in and they dig all around the basement and, suck that water in there
Mhm.
so that it eliminates it. I think you're always going to have dampness. I've never lived in a house with a sump pump, so I don't know.
Mhm.
But that is a good remedy. If you have a lot of water,
Yeah.
if you have a little bit of water, usually hiring the contractor to fix that what's going on the outside,
Mhm.
you should be good.
Okay.
You just have to monitor it. We have to look around. We got to look around in our houses. We got to do that check. And maybe you do in the spring and in the fall.
Mhm.
You know, have your furnace guy come in, have your AC guy come in, um, look at your gutters. Are they clogged? Um, Downspouts, are they connected properly? You kind of just do a home check
Mhm.
every so many months to say, okay, everything's good. I got to, change the filter in my furnace. You know, hot water tank. Is it leaking?
Yeah.
They
And
just
that's
go.
and that's another thing too. Doesn't it sometimes it can leak dangerous gases coming out of it too, don't they?
Well, we always check flues. We're
Okay.
going to check for carbon
Yeah.
monoxide. We see mostly on hot water tanks
Yeah.
where they don't connect the flue correctly.
Mhm.
So we see that a lot. Again, you need a contractor come in, fix that. It's not the end of the world. You
Right.
can get rid of it. And you should always put carbon monoxide detectors in your home.
Mhm.
And you should always have fire alarms too.
Yeah.
Always. We always recommend that. That is part of the recommendations that we put in every report if
Okay.
they're not there.
Okay. And then before we get on the other stuff, how about windows? Because you guys check for windows in the roof.
We do.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So Dan's going to look for missing tiles and shingles on your roof.
Mhm.
I mean, we've literally inspected houses where the shingles are laying in the yard.
Mhm.
Well, as a buyer and as a good agent like
Mhm.
you are,
Mhm.
if you see that, you can say, there's going to be in your home inspection report
Yeah.
that they're missing some shingles there on that
Yes.
roof.
Mhm.
So we're going to look at the roof. We can't tell age of shingles. There's
Mhm.
no way we know how old those shingles are.
Mhm.
Are a few shingles missing? May not need a complete roof, but Dan's going to look for missing granulars. You can tell age a lot by. And next time you go outside and you start looking around, you'll see all around the edges, all that's coming off.
Mhm.
And guess where that ends up? In your gutters. So he's going to look at flashing.
Mhm.
Um, all those
In the
things.
chimney too, right?
Yep, and the chimney too. We always recommend you get a chimney sweep though.
Mhm.
If you have any type of a wood burning, you need a chimney sweep to come in there. And the National Fire Prevention Agency says before you use that thing, you bought a new house, you get it cleaned because you don't know, and we don't know, what did those folks burn. So there's different types of wood. If you burn it, it really starts to clog that up.
Mhm.
But you look for, he's going to look for the spalling brick. I mentioned
Mhm.
that before. That's where the water, and you see it a lot on chimneys, from the cap being deteriorated,
Mhm.
the water gets behind the brick and the brick starts, the face of it starts coming off.
Mhm.
So, you can hire a good masonry person to come in and either replace the bit. Usually they replace the bricks. So you might see some different coloration because you're probably never going to get the same color bricks, but
Yeah.
get it done, get it taken care of.
And also too, when we talked about water damage, the downsprout spouts
Yep.
coming down, they should be facing away
Away,
from the home. Yeah. Yeah. So that's
away
what I would
from the
think too.
home,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't just let them go, you know,
Yeah.
uh, sit right there. Yeah, but I don't know. I've done it myself, actually. You can
Mhm.
buy them, and they even give you the little screws with to replace those. Um, I don't know what the heck they're called. It's like an
Yeah.
extender
Yeah.
away, away from the
No.
house. So,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty inexpensive, easy to fix.
Yeah.
That'd
Easy to
be on the
fix.
honey-do list.
Yeah. Yeah. And then real quick, the windows though. A lot of times, usually they don't. If they come
Right.
down, yeah,
Right.
the
So
insulate.
we're going to note
Yeah.
that the windows do not work.
Mhm.
Skylights,
Mhm. Mhm.
we're going to note those too,
You see
because
a lot of those? You
yes,
still okay?
we do. We see a lot of
Okay.
them, but maybe not
Yeah.
so many as
Okay.
more because they they tend to leak.
Yeah.
Um, you know, so we see those, and Dan's going to look at that. Sometimes we see fogging
Mhm.
in windows. So what happens is there's a little pinhole somewhere in between that where the argon gas comes out. So you get fogging in the window.
Mhm.
The window still works and operates as it properly should,
Mhm.
but you're going to see fogging, and it just doesn't look nice. Can you fix that? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can say somebody has one window's broken.
Mhm.
You can hire somebody to come in and fix that. That's relatively inexpensive
Yeah.
to even a window that you can get a new sash. I know I did that in my house
Mhm.
where I didn't want to replace my windows. I really didn't have to, but some of them weren't going up and down. They were
Mhm.
30 years old. So, I hired somebody that came and fixed them and they work beautifully.
Mhm.
So, not a problem.
Okay.
But again, that's my maintenance
Yeah.
that I go around. I go, check everything out here and see what the heck's going on. I know I got to do stuff.
That's true. I forgot to ask because I had that on a message. How about the solar panels on the roof? Is that anything that what's
Well,
kind of
I
your
mean, we really don't inspect them.
okay.
Um, Usually there's a guarantee warranty that comes with them.
Mhm.
But years ago in Pennsylvania, maybe other states too,
Mhm.
in order to save money, people were putting 2 layers of shingles on. It, it's not a good thing. They don't do it anymore. I don't think you're allowed to do it
Mm.
anymore. But we do have 50-year shingles
Right.
now, so that's good. But so anytime you have something above those shingles, and you know, air's going to get trapped under there.
Yeah.
I don't think it's good for the roofs
Mhm.
underneath, but we don't see a lot of it.
Okay.
We see it every once in a while. I know if you have to take them off, you got to put a new roof on underneath
Yeah.
because it will ruin the roof. People that have them, though, swear by them. They say they save a lot of money
Mhm.
on their utility bills. So I guess everything has a give and take,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Metal roofs,
Yes.
see a lot of those nowadays.
Mhm.
Uh, if they are not properly installed, they can leak.
Oh, okay.
So there is a certain way that they need to be installed.
Mhm.
And I think it's some sort of a ring that needs to go in there. If it's not put in there properly, it will leak. So I would be very careful with that. Do some research. If you're thinking about getting that on your house,
Mhm.
do some research and ask them what kind of a warranty they have with it,
Okay.
especially installation warranty. So, and you need to get up in your attic and poke your head in there and say, "Hmm, it looks like there's a little bit of staining," because water always leaves a stain. I mean,
Yeah.
people try to paint their basements before they list the
Mhm.
house, but within a few days, the water stains come back.
Yeah.
Don't even waste your money. Just say, I got water coming in the basement in the disclosure. Much easier.
Yeah. Yeah.
This way you can tell your client,
Uh-huh.
hey, you're looking at this house. We're going to read this disclosure first.
Right.
They're going to tell you what's going on in the house. So.
Yeah. Now, do you guys inspect pools, the swimming pool?
We do not. It's
Okay.
so specialized.
Mhm.
I would call a pool company,
Okay.
and a lot of times the seller will tell you who they used,
Mhm.
for in-ground pools. I
Yeah.
mean, above the ground pools, people never ask for that. It's the elaborate, in-ground pools.
Okay.
But I would contact the company that installed it because that's probably who they use. Same thing with septic and well.
Mhm.
Not too common in Allegheny County, but we do have septic systems.
Mhm.
In North Hills, in Robinson, they are trying to get rid of them. I think the sewer authorities are making them get rid of them.
Mhm.
And there are some areas where you just can't replace them. And fuel tanks.
Mhm.
People have fuel tanks.
Yeah.
They use propane gas to heat their houses. Best to do is to get the information from the seller who's been filling it up because they're the ones that are going to maintain those tanks,
Okay.
um, and the septic and the well. I mean, sometimes you can't do it. We have a list of people that'll test well water, but be prepared. It takes a couple weeks to get that result back,
Okay.
and the septic system. So
Now, how about inside with the heaters? You guys, I know you check the heaters and water heaters. Are you checking if they have the oil too? Oily?
Well, again, it's going to have a tank. Dan's going to look. If the,
Okay.
the oil tank is in the house,
Yeah.
which surprises the heck out of me that people would do that. I would
Mhm.
never do that. I'd be too nervous, but
Yeah.
people do.
Yeah.
And so Dan's going to inspect to see, okay, there are any leaks. And then again, we always recommend contact the company that fills it up. Um, make sure that it's in working order. They don't have any record of any leaks because sometimes people get told there's a leak in that tank. You got to get it fixed.
Yeah. Yep. Gotta get. And then how about too, you guys outside, you're doing the sheds and you're doing the garages and stuff out there?
we,
Yep.
we will do that. That is extra charge,
Okay.
for detached
Yeah.
garages. So, somebody's got a 3-car garage in the
Mhm.
backyard. And a lot of times sheds we don't do because
Okay.
people, well, I ask people, but they usually don't want it.
Okay. Now let's talk about the outside stuff. So we have well, this one last. How about the pest?
Oh, so the pest
Can you explain what that is a little bit too so people
oh
know?
yeah. So
Mhm.
here's what the pest
Mhm.
inspectors look for: termites, carpenter ants, carpenter bees, any type of bug that will eat your house. And people say, well, I don't see any wood. Well, there's wood.
Mhm.
There's wood in your house somehow, some way. And if they're hungry, like I said,
Mhm.
they're coming.
Yeah,
They're
they're coming.
marching in.
Mhm.
I had them in my house. I walked in my house one day and I don't know why I looked up, but I did. I go, what the heck is that? It was the mud tubes.
Mhm.
So the termites, and I called my husband, I called my dad. I'm like, help. They were both at work. But anyways, we got
Mhm.
the pest inspector to come and take a look. Oh yeah, you got termites.
Mhm.
So they treat them and they got rid of them. And my mom had carpenter ants in the attic. We see that. You don't even know they're there. Somehow they decide to get in your attic and they're eating your wood, but easy enough to treat. And
Mhm.
the chemicals they use today are very, very effective and non-toxic to humans and animals. So that's what they're going to look for. They're not looking for spiders. If they see mouse droppings, they are probably going to let you know. But, they're not really looking for things that don't eat your house. Those are different pest inspections.
Mhm.
And I mean, you could talk to the company and, they'll come in and do that. But
What are some of the worst case when they have termites? That,
well, they're eating the main beam. They've been there for years and years and years. So we do see a lot of deteriorated wood. So that's got to be replaced.
and that's when it gets more costly then.
That's right. That's right. But a normal carpenter ant treatment, I would say, is probably anywhere from $150 to $200. Termites, they're a little more expensive because the chemicals are a little more expensive, maybe $500, $600 for
Mhm.
that. And a lot of people get on plans where they just come and they're going to spray
Mhm.
every 6 months or so, whatever you want. I think you do 3, 6 months, something like that, yearly.
Yeah, okay.
So it's not anything to get too alarmed
Mhm.
at. Usually people do get that taken care of because nobody wants those things crawling around in their house.
Yeah. But it is separate from your home inspection, the fee, right?
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Okay.
yes. And we use a certified pest inspector.
Mhm.
And I mean, they're just great. They do a great job. They will provide you also with an estimate for
Mhm.
treatment, which makes it nice and easy. You don't have to go back to the house, meet anybody, let them in. You've got the information. There's a detailed report that's provided the same day as the inspection.
Okay.
So,
And how about the radon? What is that?
well,
That's also a separate test too.
that is a separate test. I would say 99.9% of the people get radon tests.
Mhm.
And if you can see our
Yep.
table,
She has some on
uh,
display here. Yeah.
yep, you
So
can
what is the
see.
black box? What is
The
that?
black box is the actual radon
Mhm.
test. Minimum time for a radon test is 48 hours. I like to run it a little bit longer. We really want to know what the average of the radon is for the year in the house, but we don't have time in a real estate transaction because we've got deadlines.
Right.
We've got a contract and we've got deadlines. So 48 hours is the minimum time for a test. I bring my equipment in, I let it sit there. In the state of Pennsylvania, we have a very strict radon program.
Mhm.
You have to be certified by the PADEP. There's a lot of quality control that goes in there.
Mhm.
They can pop into my office anytime they want to do an audit to make sure that I'm following the guidelines.
Mhm.
Your equipment has to be calibrated every year, and it's got to be, up to date. You've got to, the seller needs to sign a form, a non-interference agreement. They agree that the test is going to run there for a couple of days. They're not going to touch it. They're not going to move it. They're not going to put it outside. They're not going to close it. They're not going to put a fan on it. They're not going to do anything to it. Let it go.
Mhm.
And don't open windows. Normal entry and exit into the house is fine.
Because if those things happen, they can't do the test. Because I've had where they couldn't do the test.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Sometimes in the middle of summer, people don't have air conditioning.
Mhm.
You cannot say to them, okay, you have to sit in this house and it's 97 degrees outside, which happened this year,
Mhm.
and for 3 days, 2 days, 2.5 days, and not open any windows. Well, that is inhumane.
Right.
So, you can make provisions for that. You can wait until they go on vacation to run the
Mhm.
test, wait till after the buyer moves in or are ready to move in or the people move out. There's lots of different ways to fix that. But radon gas
Mhm.
is the second leading cause of lung cancer,
Mhm.
believe it or not. Causes more deaths than breast cancer and prostate cancer in the United States, about 22,000 deaths a year.
Mhm.
It is colorless, it is odorless, it is everywhere, and it is never, ever going away. It
Mhm.
comes from the breakdown of the crust of the earth.
Mhm.
It accumulates in our houses. So most houses, we live in them, they're closed 24/7.
Mhm.
Air conditioning all summer, heat furnaces all winter. It's a gas. It seeps through cracks in the floor. So you got a concrete floor under your house or a dirt floor.
Mhm.
Houses have dirt floors still to this day. It's going to seep up. And I've said it a couple times. We don't know what's going on under our houses. There's a pocket, and all of a sudden that radon gas slips in there and comes into our house.
Mhm.
So we have our girl cave or our man cave or our kids cave in the basement.
Mhm.
And the kids are playing and they're real close to the floor because they're little
Mhm.
and they're down there for hours. Uh, you know, every night your spouse is downstairs watching every sports that's imaginable
Mhm.
on TV, and they're sitting there for hours and hours and hours and hours. Um, and you smoke. So if you smoke, you
Mhm.
got high radon, it certainly increases your chance of getting lung cancer. Doctors are now categorizing lung cancer from radon, lung cancer from smoking. It's different size cells, so they know that's how we have more accurate information as to people dying from lung cancer induced by radon gas.
Mhm.
It's in your schools, it's in your houses, it's in office buildings, it is everywhere. I'm on a committee, nationwide committee with the EPA and other scientists, doctors, radon testers, and radon mitigation installers. And we meet every other Tuesday, and we are writing updated radon testing protocols for the country to follow.
Mhm.
So we've been doing it for years. It takes a long time because the scientists and the doctors, they get stuck on a couple words. No, 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 we got to put it this way. So that's another story for another day. I go, oh boy. But it's all good.
Mhm.
And it's all for our health and keeping our at-home environment safe for ourselves and our families. I mean, you don't want to sit in a room with high radon. And people don't think about this too. They're putting exotic materials in their house,
Mhm.
stones and woods, and they're not sealed. Like granite countertops are sealed.
Mhm.
So it's stone and it could have radon in it, but
Mhm.
if it's sealed, it's probably not coming up. So there
Is
was
there
a big
signs of
scare.
that or like symptoms that you feel like without being tested, or you would never know until you got tested?
You would never know.
Okay.
You would never know. You could go and get a lung screening, lung
Yeah.
cancer screening. I know for smokers that's free. I don't know for general public if it is or not, but
Mhm.
it might be well worth it, to have that done.
Mhm.
But there are booklets, and you're going to put them on
Mhm.
your links. There's actually one more. These are the last physical copies I
Oh,
have
okay.
of, you know, home buyers and sellers and radon mitigation.
Mhm.
And the mitigations systems are super efficient at removing radon.
Okay.
New construction, a lot of builders actually hide the pipe in the wall. When you have an existing home, you've got to put the pipe, dig a hole in the basement, put gravel in it, create a suction with the pipe, come up the wall and out the side of the house. You have seen radon mitigation systems and may not know what it
Yeah,
is.
that's what I say. How do they look? How can
Yep.
people look? Okay,
It
where are they at? Yeah.
yeah, they're on the outside sometimes. They're, kind of look like a mushroom, and now
Mhm.
they're making them square, a
Mhm.
little bit nicer, cleaner look, and then proper installation of a radon mitigation system goes up above the roof line. We've seen them where they discharge in front of a window. We just saw that.
Mm.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just got to shake my head and I
Yeah.
say, wow, aren't we taking that radon? And if they open that kitchen window, it's coming right back in the house. Yikes. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you want it to go
Yeah.
up. We're not installers,
Mhm.
but we have really good certified installers in the state of Pennsylvania because we are a radon state. Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, Florida, Midwest, Idaho, Iowa, um, Indiana, Ohio, just the EPA is really cracking down on this. I
Mhm.
mean, it's just, because there's 22,000 people is a lot of people we lose every year for
Yeah.
that, or something you can control and get rid of.
Right. And when
So,
they do the testing, is there a certain number it should be? And if it's higher than that,
yeah, anything 4.0 or below, above picocuries per liter, so liter bottle,
mm,
that's how much radon gas is in there. You should get it mitigated.
okay.
Um, you could look at 3.5 and say, we're going to round that up to 4.0. People do it.
Mm,
I want a system. Systems, maybe $1,200, $1,500. Again, you should test it every few years.
mm,
We test a lot of people that have mitigation systems. Sometimes they work nice, 5, 7 years. Sometimes they don't.
mm,
Sometimes they're installed incorrectly. You don't know until you test it.
okay.
There's a kind of a squiggly thing. It's a manometer. All that shows you is pressurization. It does not show you that the system's pulling enough radon gas out of there. We have tested houses that have had hundreds of picocuries. New construction, old construction, middle of the road
Mhm.
construction. It doesn't matter. People say, oh, it's a new house. They don't have radon. Well,
Yeah.
that, you don't know until you test it because you can't feel it, you can't smell it, you can't touch it.
Yeah.
So it's it's the real deal, folks. I
Yeah.
mean, people say, "Oh, it's a farce," and it's a chance you're going to take.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take it.
Okay.
I would get my house tested
Yeah.
for the cost of the test.
Well, that's what I was going
Not
to
worth
ask
it.
you real quick for all that package, the home inspection, the pest, and the radon. How much should people be looking to spend?
Yeah, our package deal is $700.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's relatively inexpensive compared to how much money you're spending on your new house and your health and well-being
Okay.
and what's wrong with the house on the day of the inspection. So, unfortunately, we can't tell you your furnace is going to break in March or your hot water tank is going to go
Mm-hmm.
before you move in. A lot of times,
Yeah.
sellers provide home warranties for that kind of stuff. But, you know, we're going to tell you what to expect. And then, therefore, you can start planning. What's my budget? I know I'm going to have house repairs at some point
Mm-hmm.
because you always do, and you create that little budget, like 10%, put it away, and the hot water tank goes, it's $1,000 to repair it. Oh, I got that money. It's not a financial burden,
Right.
down the road, because let's face it, buying a house, you have a lot of initial expenses to deal with. So,
That's correct.
yep.
Now, Maria, since my podcast is called Seeking Wisdom Through Real Estate, what's a piece of wisdom that you would like to give my viewers?
Um, for your own protection, get a home inspection. It's very essential. A lot of people do waive them. Um, a lot of problems
Mm-hmm.
once they move in. Protect yourself. You have to today.
Mm-hmm.
People may not know what's wrong with the house.
Right.
For instance, in estates, the owners passed away and people don't know. Get a home inspection. It's your protection. We're here, we're your advocate. We're here to tell you what we know and see as of the day of inspection.
Okay, that's good. Yes, get a home inspection.
Yes.
All right, so how can people contact you?
Well, you can, our website, keystonebuildinginspections.com. You can email me
Mm-hmm.
at Maria, Maria, at
Mm-hmm.
keystonebuildinginspections.com. You can text 412-788-5416, or you can call me.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, we try to meet every which way
Yeah.
you can get. We do have a Facebook page um, and LinkedIn,
Yeah. Okay, so
so we're
social
out
media.
there
Okay.
pretty easy.
Well, thank you, Maria. And she's
Yeah,
and you have provided me with a lot of education since I've met you. So that's good. So
we're
you'll
glad to
definitely
help.
learn a lot. I'm assuming when Dan does inspections, he's going to be teaching a lot too to whoever's there.
Absolutely.
Um, so yes, so definitely use their services. So if you have enjoyed your time with us, please like and subscribe to my channel. See you next week when we seek more wisdom through real estate. God bless.
Thank you.